Our friend Scott Simon of NPR has the story of a most talented man who's found his true calling in more ways than one.
Broken bat grounder, that'll get a run home.
The baseball team's announcer can be as much a part of its appeal as any player.
Pitch is low and it's ball 4, bases loaded.
Think of Vin Scully in Los Angeles.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Or of late legends like Red Barber in Brooklyn.
This is the old redhead, Red Barber.
And Harry Carey at Wrigley Field.
Holy cow!
You are part therapist and part guide and part entertainer.
It's game number 3 of this series, the rubber match.
Which brings us to this season and Jason Benetti, who became the main announcer for the Chicago White Sox. The Sox finished a long way out of first place.
3-2 again.
But up in the booth, Jason Benetti
in the air, tailing away into right center field.
Is one of the best.
Hits it to the wall.
The job isn't just to yell and yammer into a mic about what happens on the field.
Who taught you to switch it?
He makes the rounds before each game, talking to players to tell their stories.
Your first major league game you ever went to?
It was a Pittsburgh Pirates game with my grandparents.
And he preps his own distinct system.
One of the best parts of baseball is that everybody keeps score differently.
For recording each play of the game.
Green is for walks.
It requires a proliferation of pens.
Orange is for strikeouts. I use the purple for pregame notes.
Cross out all the inning numbers on your lineup card.
Yes, now I have.
Jason Benetti's partner in the booth is former pitching great Steve Stone.
I look at somebody who has the intensity of a professional baseball player, the intellect of a nuclear scientist, the abilities that are off the charts.
Ground ball to third, Moncada with the tag, and he got him!
You go back a long way with the White Sox, don't you?
I do. When I was a kid, I came here a lot.
Tell us about an essay you wrote when you were in grade school.
I think essay is a little bit of a stretch. Evidently, I wrote this essay that said what I want to be when I grow up is the White Sox announcer.
It took 27 years, a law degree, and gigs calling college and minor league sports before Benetti joined the White Sox announcers in 2016.
Left field, base hit.
He is an extraordinary human being who has overcome a situation that a lot of people don't overcome. And he's done it by sheer force of will. I have never seen a more determined guy.
James, do you have 60 seconds for me?
But Jason Benetti has overcome, or at least contends with every day, is cerebral palsy.
I was born premature. As my parents tell the story, nearly died, and a doctor helped save me.
Cerebral palsy, or CP, is a disorder that happens when parts of the brain that control muscles are damaged during pregnancy or birth. It can affect muscle coordination for walking, vision, and speech. Jason Benetti has had several surgeries and years of physical therapy.
I think I can see reactions that people give me, where people will smile and talk slowly to me.
People can see Benetti has eyes that wander and a walk he calls funny. He says being so conspicuous just encouraged him to play the tuba in his high school marching band.
If somebody's going to psychoanalyze a little kid who walks with a limp, of course he's going to pick the tuba, the biggest one, because he's got a chip on his shoulder. But part of the requirement of band is that we march. And so we decided that that was not terribly safe.
But he loved being part of the show. Benetti's band director had the idea to put him behind a microphone to call the band's routines. That's how Jason Benetti became an announcer.
They gave me a chance to sit behind a thing that I had no idea that I was going to love.
Tim Anderson drills it to center. Smith back at the warning track. It is up and clanging off and back in.
Is walking a chore sometimes?
It's not. It's actually not. It doesn't look great, but it gets me where I'm going.
Jason Benetti says he's not a disability activist, but he knows his story can be important.
I'm a guy who walks a bit different and whose eyes go in totally different directions of the world.
He shares some everyday moments about CP in a series of cartoons for the Cerebral Palsy Foundation called
Awkward Moments. Do you have 5-year-olds look at you and ask their mother, hey, what's wrong with that man? You don't. I do. Happens all the time. And the mom usually...
And the mom shushes the kid. I've seen that. I've lived it. It's happened to me dozens of times. That in no way teaches the kid what he's or she's looking at. By saying, shh, they're trying to make my life better. Yeah. But long range, there's less understanding. So the hope is that there's just more curiosity about what's going on and more openness.
Do you ever dream about doing an interview where we don't have to mention CP?
Here's the thing. I mean, honestly, it's part of me. So many people travel this world and don't know what's unique about them.
How's it going? Good.
I already have one built in.
What do you say we do it again tomorrow? Try and win one tomorrow.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll do that.